we're here at Shoe Healer. I've done a video that's about to follow. I keep getting asked for longer videos, more in depth. So I set the camera up and I just kept it running all the time I did the video. So it's a 40-minute long video, but it's real time of how we do a repair on a pair of shoes. Some of it I do repeat myself in it a little bit because I did the left shoe, then I did the right shoe, and I thought I'll cut one out. And but in the end, we just thought we'd put it all together, and you can just pick through it. You can fast forward through it. You're clever people, and we will do a shorter version at some point. But that's a real video. Normally, doing a pair of shoes like that, you will maybe put 2 or 3 pairs through at the same time, so that your productivity is keeping up. But have a look at the video, see what you think. We'll be happy to have your comments and everything. Remember to like, share, and whatever you do. And I apologise in advance to Jeff for my use of a Stanley knife rather than a Barnsley knife. Gentleman's just turned up from Mansfield. He's brought his shoes in for a repair. You see the heels hanging off and the soles coming off there, and it's worn through. So he's bought some new shoes from us, but while he's in Doncaster, we're just going to see if we can get these sorted out for him. Right, let's get started on these. This heel was just lifting at the back there, look, so we know it's not going to be difficult to come off. I'm not sure what that is, whether that's leather or compressed cardboard. Let's see how this sole, can we? So this has had a cover sole on, which is exactly what we recommend. And oh, Paul, you wouldn't just knock that radio off for me, would you? Just 2 seconds, just because sometimes I get into trouble for having that on in the background. So it's had 3 little tacks in. That's lovely, that is. 3 little rivets in the toe, not doing any good whatsoever, but it's traditional to do that. This sole is coming off really nicely. When it's been trimmed back, curved off there. It's probably the profile of the welt has got. Oh, this is coming off lovely. Now you'll see when this sole was fitted, they've caught the stitching a little bit, but that's absolutely fine. Don't worry about it. People get upset about that, but the shoe will keep together, even though you've caught that stitching a little bit. So we've talked to the gentleman about the condition of this shoe and what he wants to spend on it, and he's going to have a standard rubber cover sole on there and a standard rubber heel. Have we got a brown sole for this, Paul? A nice brown cover sole. It's been brought back quite a long way in the waist. This is the waist of the shoe, so we'll fit a big sole. Yeah, big size. Look at that. Oh, I don't quite get that down to the waist. I would like to. Yeah, when it's warm it'll stretch over there. Yeah, well done, lovely. So onto the machine. Trying to get a really nice crisp edge to the sole. Just clean off all this old glue. Now, because this sole has gone through, moisture has been getting in, and you can see that that sole has deteriorated. Still good, absolutely fine, but you can see how it's deteriorated a little bit. Right, so the important part is a crisp edge. Beautiful crisp edge. Lovely. Now yes, we've taken a little bit of the stitching. It's still there quite good, but that's absolutely fine. All those little stitches running through that sole are like little pegs. Keep it together beautiful. The only time that will start coming away is when this sole is worn down really thin and there's nothing for those little stitch pegs to hold on to. So we've got a nice crisp edge on there. Oh, look at that. Compressed cardboard. What a shame. This shoe is an old Charles Tyrwhitt. And we're just taking as little off as possible to get a nice edge on there. Paul, can you just get me a rubber heel for those? A full rubber heel. So we just place the shoe up there. Every repairer will have the area where he just drops a shoe just on there, just to see how it's going to sit. And I know that will, when that's got the heel on, that heel will sit just right. That's getting the balance right of the shoe. This is the heel that we're going with, a beautiful heel, standard heel, not a fancy heel on here. Doesn't love the shoe that much anymore. It is a great looking shoe though. Pity about the heel stack. So that now, Paul, will you rough that up any more than that, or will you just be happy to go on there with solution? Yeah, lovely, lovely, lovely. So sometimes if you want a little bit more nap onto the shoe, we'd come over here and take up this is our own homemade roughing up tool, and we just always off the edge of the sole so we get a crisp edge, never on, because then we end up with a rounded edge. We want a crisp edge, otherwise when the sole's fitted it'll be grinning at us. It'll be grinning. It means there's a gap in there and the sole can't sit tight, and we have to trim it back further, take more of the welt off. Just a real slight recess there for the sole to sit in. Okay, so that's beautiful. Not always necessary to put that little bit more roughing in there, but I like to do it. There you go, Paul, that's ready for 2 coats of solution. Right, the heel now wants this shiny edge taken off. So at this point, if there was any question about how this heel would sit on the shoe and how the balance would be, we could just take a little bit out of the front just to get that balance right, but that's going to be beautiful. Over there, there you go, over to solutioning. That's it, and then the sole. So just so we can scour these up nicely, we'll put those back to back. We want to get rid of that shiny section. And we don't know where these soles have been. We don't know if somebody's handled them after they've had the fish and chips. So there might be grease on there. There might be dust on there. While we're at the machine, we'll just run it all round. Fire that over to Paul, who was giving it the first coat of solution. Look at that, beautiful. Here's the soles. Lovely, sorry, lovely, lovely, lovely. And then the same with the other shoe. Let's have a look at this other shoe. Let's have the heel off. Let's have the rubber off. Oh, look at all this cardboard, compressed cardboard material. Look at that, it's got some wetting to it. Three little rivets there. I bet these have been repaired before by an old boy, an old repairer. Nobody puts tacks in the toes. Father used to. But you've got your solutioning right. They're not doing any good. They're not doing any harm. Sometimes it's nice to see them, you know, with crazy expensive pair of Edward Greens over here. Look at those beautiful little tacks in the toe there. Yeah, they do look nice, and they do help for the toes to wear a little bit better. Anyway, back to our shoe. Now at this stage we do, as I was saying, sometimes we see the sole, the leather's dried up, and it's had moisture getting to it. But that is absolutely fine. We've caught that just nicely, and we'll get that machined up. Yep. Nice. Get the camera right. So what we're taking off here is part of the old heel. This was the infill, the rubber quarter tip. We want a nice crisp edge here. My last scour is off the edge of the sole to help to get a nice crisp edge there. So a tool like this is used when you've scoured and the leather's hard. It's quite hard and shiny, and modern glues are fabulous because the solvents soak nicely into the leather, and the solvents draw the solution into the leather. But what can happen then is you have a shiny area, really shiny area, and the rubber, and as the pressure of the shoe is warped, there's nothing that this sole is keyed into the leather. So the rougher we get this, the better. Probably a little bit of overkill, but can you imagine weight being applied onto this sole and it's shiny underneath, and it just the pressure of walking on it can work the sole free. So Just a nice edge there to sink the new sole into. And then a nice bit of a rough in the middle, because when that rubber goes thin, that's where it'll be encouraged to come free and you end up with a bubble under the middle of your sole. Has the other one had 2 coats, Paul? Yeah. 2. Okie doke, so we'll leave that a while, and then that's had 1 coat, that's had 2 coats, we'll put another coat on, and we'll come back to the action. Right, let's get this sole knocked down. We move the shoe around the last just to find a solid area, because solid at this side, quite loose at that side. So solid there, get the sole worked in, up the middle, round the edges. Right, that's my hammer up there, that's Paul's hammer. Slight difference. Mine's a double-faced hammer. I like to use a double-faced hammer, lots of pressure on there, big area on there. Paul's got a traditional hammer, so he can get in to get the nails on that end and then spin around and whack them in. Anyway, this is where we're at now, and I wish I had a Barnsley knife now, because people are going to complain and moan, but Stanley knife does the job beautifully. And then across the breast of the heel, like that. And then I like to just give that a press round there, and a press round there. And then that's into the press. Get the other one sorted. Right, we're ready for the sole now. That's just slightly soft. It's not tacky, well, slightly tacky, but it's just slightly soft, you know. Let's not play with it too much. The soles are up here in the activator, just being warmed through, just getting them warmed through slightly, and that makes them more pliable when we come to attach them onto the shoe. So here we go. Just like that. And then the sole on the waist there, just nicely lined up there, and then we just pull that round there and just pull a little bit of toe spring out of the shoe, just to pull, not ramrod straight, but just pull a few of those creases out the vamp like that. That's lovely. We don't want to ramrod straight, that would be uncomfortable. And then on to the last, and here we have Paul's toffee hammer. I like to have my bigger hammer, two-faced hammer like that, and work up the shoe. Yep. work up the middle of the shoe, pull the shoe over so we can feel that it's solid underneath, and then pull the shoe back, push the shoe over, work down this side and then forward like that. All round there, check that we're down nicely, and then trimming it off. I'm going to get myself a Barnsley knife. Okay, this is where I'm kidding you a little bit. This is a Barnsley knife, and we just trim that sole back there with the Barnsley knife. And that's the Barnsley knife there, the lovely traditional Barnsley knife. Normally, this job you'd have one that's a few years old and would be a little bit of a blade, and work that round there. The reality is though, you want one of these babies. This is the future. Yes, that's little blade, beautiful handle, sits really nice in your hand. Trim that off. Doesn't really matter how you trim this. The more you take off, the less dust you're going to make. Hello. Lovely, lovely, lovely. A quick run round the side there. I just like to do that. Just make sure that the edges are so tightly pressed down. Sometimes a press like this doesn't get right where you want it. Doesn't get right to the front. The very generic lasts into there. I'm going to just put a bit more pressure on there. That's it. And then pull her out, spin around and fire in the hole. Let's get the heels pressed. Beautiful. I can just bring that, that's it, it's on the timer. And then up here, one last work down, especially around the toes. These presses are buggers for missing the toes. And just 3 brads in there to hold that. That will be absolutely fine because it's bonded and it's a beautiful level surface. Even though it is compressed cardboard on these Charles Tyrwhitt shoes, the rest of the shoe is lovely. And then 3. So this is having what we call an economical repair. You know, we're not. It's going to look lovely when it's all trimmed off and polished up. But if we were putting the leather heel with a quarter tip on, we might do a little bit of brass riveting down there. But anyway, straight on to the finisher. Let's just set that in a little bit. Putting any pressure on at all. Just bring her in a little bit more. That's it. So just to get rid of this edge here, we just give it a little bit of and that brings the profile down and just rounds off that little bit more there. Then onto the heel. Now look at your repairs. It's not unusual to see a little skid mark here, little where they've caught, up here especially, where they've caught it on the wheel. Then onto the breaster. Cheers. Just take the burrs off and then we're ready. A little bit there. No, we don't need to touch it, but we can do. We can just bring it in a little bit there. Beautiful. And now that's ready for inking. Just check to make sure that we've got a nice edge around there. We're nice and square here. Your heel should be square. This is a poor repair. You see the difference where this is cubaned in there. It's I don't know if you've seen that from that angle, but we want it to be nice and crisp and square there. So, inking. Oh, brown ink. Which ink are we on, Paul? The middle one, yep. Yep. Shaking. Okie doke. Give that a shake. Yeah, it does smell this. Oh, grief. So, inking. And put that to dry, and then the same again on the other one. Super light on the trimmer. like you're being a little bit aggressive on that, but we're just squaring that edge up and just taking the lightest bit off. If you get it wrong with that, you're going to make a mess of the shoe. Okay, so next we're going to just take that edge off there. Take a little bit out the profile and just put a nice rounded edge on there. We could take that down further and get a smaller profile if we wanted, but that looks nice. That's quite nicely balanced. Into the breaster. And then onto the heel. To catch the shoe here on there because it's blind. Very easy to catch the shoe. You'll see little marks in there occasionally around here where they've been caught. They've just drifted across and caught the shoe. Take the burrs off and then I'll just clean up inside there a little bit, and there she's ready for ink. Off with the machine, brown ink. What have you done to them? Heel, polished laces. What's your heel on them? So you'll have polish, laces. You'll have $24.95 altogether. Right, and that's the other one ready. Right, just up here drying, so let's have a look. So this is all dry now.
No worries, mate. See you later, mate.
See you later, Kyle. So, will do. The second I get any, I will. Yep. This just takes 2 minutes to mask the shoe, but what we don't really want to do is...
No problem at all, pal. See you later, Steve.
Bye, thank you.
Okie doke. Right, so masking up like that allows us to get plenty of wax into the edges of the sole, because this machine, like a lot of modern machines, doesn't have setting irons. Setting irons would be where we would the big metal triangular piece on the end, and that would iron the edge of the sole. Modern machines just don't have setting irons. So let's go into there. We can just now, without fear of getting colour onto the upper, we can really get a beautiful finish around that heel. Just alter the angle there so you can see that. really pressing on hard and getting the wax into that heel. Camera angle's a bit crap, but a lovely finish around there. And then off with the tape, find a nice last to go in. Did you get some laces for these, please? 75 brown waxy lace. Yep. They've not had a lot of love, these, have they?
No. They're all doing it after, you know.
Paul, you wouldn't mask that other one up, would you? They're in for stretching. Bit of a battle scar there, but gives it bit of character, bit of patina, patina. How long have you got on your parking?
I don't know. What time are they getting here, do you think?
I think we're still in good time, aren't we?
Alright, I don't think you've been here an hour.
No.
No, I don't.
It's only 10 minutes to walk.
10 minutes, yeah.
Well, I'm going to just bulk out my video. There you go, look, blind eyelets, eyelets on the inside. Really nice, elegant. This is the Oxford fastening, so it gives it a lovely profile. So the facings at either side are stitched in at the bottom. This is the Oxford. This is how I like to see a shoe laced up. Just simple, straight lines across. Not like a work boot where they're crisscrossed and they look awful. That is just lovely. What a great shoe. Lovely repair. That shoe will keep going for a good while now. Superb. Right, a bit of polish on this one and we're away.